Telltale Games is about to close their doors.
But should someone buy the company?
We've got some thoughts about that.
Hot take.
As many of you know by now, and as we've previously talked about, Telltale Games has gone through a number of little issues, mostly kind of bankruptcy type stuff. They let go of basically their entire crew except for a handful of people just to finish off a remaining project that they're doing with Netflix, which is apparently some kind of Minecraft game that's being made for Netflix. So we believe it's just the previous Minecraft story mode that was already produced by them being turned into some like Netflix experience. Now, with all that being said, we basically started to hear a lot of information just after all of that has kind of updated things a little bit more. So Adam, what have we heard so far?
Yeah, so far Telltale Games has reached out after all this hubbub about them closing their doors, firing 90% of their personnel and only having like a skeleton team of 25 people. They sent out a tweet just yesterday stating that, folks have been approaching the company saying that they would like to see the final season of The Walking Dead through. So there have been offers, supposedly.
I mean, seriously, of course, people are going to be interested in this. It was a moneymaker. It was their biggest series, and the fact it took them so long to make a part 3.
Arguably, it was the series that made Telltale.
Absolutely,
right.
Yes.
They've had several different companies come forward and say that they would support them. They haven't been specific about who these companies are.
This is true.
But they said that they would be releasing the final episodes possibly in some form. So we're not sure if it's going to be a Telltale experience proper. We're not sure if this will be some sort of webcomic or like an animated show or something. That's up in the air.
So there was this little thing when they talked about, when they had their initial announcement about all this stuff happening, they talked about what they were going to be doing with their IP soon. So this is kind of interesting to me because personally, I believe, and I believe Adam believes as well, that somebody should be buying these assets. Somebody possibly should be purchasing like what remains of the company and maybe rehiring some of the people that left. Now, I don't want to break too much into the reasons why they kind of broke down initially, but we do know that it was basically management problems.
Right.
So
people were pointing to a very toxic environment. We spoke like way in depth in our first talk a couple of days ago, so please check that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was basically a lot of mismanagement, a lot of like a revolving door of hiring and firing people and people just coming and leaving.
And there's been a lot more people to basically talk about how bad it was at Telltale. There's a lot of people that said good things, but there was a lot more people that basically talked about how bad the environment was. Yeah. So, with that being said, you can go on Twitter, you can go on a bunch of social networks to find all the information. We're not going to recite it here again, but one thing that we are pretty certain of is that management simply has to go. The way that the company was managed, the cutthroat attitude, basically became a poison to the company, and people were being very creative in that group despite that. So I believe that there should be a clear divide over the people that are brought back if somebody were to purchase all these assets and bring these people back in. Because remember, even if the IPs are purchased, and remember, they don't actually own The Walking Dead.
Right. Most of the IP that Telltale has worked with are from very famous comic books or TV series or movies.
Exactly, right? So it's not like anybody would be buying these IPs directly. They'd be buying the ideas of these games and going forward with them.
The Telltale gameplay tools, the methods of storytelling that they've sort of invented and used in their games.
Absolutely. And this is one of the problems that comes into purchasing a company like Telltale. You're actually not buying Telltale directly. You're buying their work, their people.
Yep.
So one of the big issues is that if you are to buy this, you need to bring these people back on board. So I firmly believe that there's a couple companies out there, and I'm only going to list 3, and we're going to start with the least likely at the very beginning here.
Okay.
So first off, I think Ubisoft would be a good company to purchase something like this. Ubisoft has dealt with large groups making games. They've dealt with lots of IPs. They've had a whole bunch of instances of being able to produce things very quickly and very rapidly. And I believe that they are one of the best companies in mind that could actually purchase this group and work with them.
Yeah, they certainly have a lot of money to toss around. They've got a lot of weight in the industry, and we've seen a lot of indie titles from Ubisoft as well. They've tried different things like what was it? That Chrono Trigger, like a JRPG.
Yes. I forget.
Child of Light. Thank you, Shane. Child of Light.
Yeah.
And that other, the Hearts, the World War I game.
Yes.
were awful.
Yeah, it's a really good game. They're both 2D experiences. Ubisoft was doing a lot of stuff like this, and they more people consider them the indie games from them, even though they're not indie games. But there is, like I said, a lot of really great examples of them working with stuff. Now, that's Ubisoft. The next company I would consider, and this is a little bit of a wild card, I will admit, Nintendo. Now, the reason why I say this is because I consider Telltale's games beautiful story experiences, really well done narratives with great characters, and I don't feel like the gameplay is heavy set. Like, it's really about the point and click attitude. Well, a touchscreen. You know, just having that experience portable would feel more like I have this small little bite. Like the games are bite-sized chunks, right? Especially in that episodic content. So Nintendo having this kind of group producing this stuff over time, I think would be a great win for them because it could be exclusive stories specifically for the Switch.
That would be interesting because I don't know that Nintendo's worked with Telltale. Of all the
really
big boys, I can't recall them.
They have had their games on their platforms before.
Have they on the Wii U?
I think with the Wii, honestly.
On the Wii?
Yeah, you know, but the thing is, it's around. There, right?
You're right. No, Strong Bad. The Strong Bad game did come out on the Wii, and a couple of other games did.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's that. You could have that there, and I feel that Nintendo could really benefit from this. And one thing I really like about that idea too is that we basically went over a little bit of some history back on Rerez 1, our main channel. We talked about Rare being working with Nintendo, and specifically Retro Studios. Retro Studios had a bunch of management issues and had a whole bunch of things, and Nintendo stepped in and fixed it. And I feel that Nintendo understands what it takes for a company to be successful. And plus, when you're working with a company like Ubisoft, you're working with a company like Nintendo, you're not being forced to release a million games at once, right? What they should be doing is looking at releasing a game maybe once a year. That would be a far easier way to go about things and focus on good franchises that people want to see.
Whatever happens with Telltale once they're bought up, one thing's for sure, the way that they make games has to change. It can still be episodic,
sure,
but you cannot have several plates spinning at the same time.
Exactly.
Because, like we mentioned before, crunch, it's horrible.
Crunch is a killer.
It ruins developers, and it makes that sort of revolving door, as I had mentioned earlier. You just continue.
You
know, and then you can't work with the tools that you're making your games with because you're constantly making games with a set
100%.
tool.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So I really feel that would be a far better solution for them, being able to work within those confines. Plus, when you've got a big company like Ubisoft or you have a big company like Nintendo, they have better tools at hand to produce things. So I feel that would be a better solution for them. Unfortunately, I don't think they should go and hire the entire team back, like we've already stated, but just the people that were creative and folks that knew what they were doing.
How about the people that didn't get their severance?
Yeah.
Those people.
Right? The people that actually, I guess that's pretty much all the people, right? Yeah. But it's like, there's just this issue that extends through the folks that were managing things that were screwing up. That's really the problem. Those people can't really be in that position again because they would just recreate the problems that initialized that. Also, there is the idea that possibly by having less of a workflow, by only focusing on one or two games, maybe they'd be able to better manage stuff like that.
I think absolutely. Absolutely.
Just the people at the very top that created the issues that started, right? Overhiring and stuff. I think that's one of the problems we've heard so far, too, is that there was just too many people at the studio doing way too many things and nothing really clicked. But there is a company out there that I believe would be better than anyone else to purchase the group.
I think I know who you're talking about, right?
Who am I talking about?
Is it the Minecraft story mode people?
Yeah.
Netflix.
Now, look, folks, Netflix is not a video game company, but let's be fair. If they're actually looking at taking older video games that they've produced, like Minecraft Story Mode, and turning them into Netflix experiences, that means that Netflix wants to enter into a realm of interactivity. Now, this isn't the first time Netflix has done this. There have been other interactive experiences on the Netflix platform to varying degrees of success, but they are there, and it does look like Netflix wants to expand on that front. So, wouldn't it be smart for them to wholesale just purchase a group that already knows how to make those narrative-driven experiences, which completely work with what Netflix is all about?
It works with Netflix's their overall sort of system. I mean, they do television shows, but a lot of what they do is episodic content.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
And see, that's just the thing, right? When you really think about what they're producing at Netflix, this is it. These are the games that feel like they would be made exactly for Netflix.
Every now and then also, you hear rumors about, Netflix Netflix may be having problems with, only focusing on television and like the money issues here or there. Maybe welcoming in a new genre or branch to the Netflix organization as a whole is
hands down, right?
Yeah,
Think about that, right? You got HBO, you've got NBC, you have all Fox is getting into it, Disney is getting into it. All these folks are getting into these digital distribution networks to make video files more prevalent in streaming services. But when you think about that, right? Netflix is the leader in this. They should be the ones to break forward. Once upon a time, Netflix went up to a company because they weren't doing very well and they were looking to get purchased. And that company that turned them down was Blockbuster, right? Because Blockbuster couldn't see the future. They couldn't see through the forest that one day in the future, people might not want this stuff. So they ended up sucking hardcore, going away, and then Netflix ended up taking it forward and making this huge thing. So Netflix should be the ones to do the same things because realistically, right? Being the guys out there that basically go, oh, look, hey, we've got interactive video game experiences streamed on our platform. They could really break it through because everyone else that's going to try and catch up with them would be years behind.
Right.
Disney is not doing great when it comes to interactive stuff. Hey, Disney, you fired everyone from LucasArts, you idiots. You had one of the most brilliant companies in the world.
They basically made Telltale Games.
Yeah, exactly, right?
That's
what you did.
The main LucasArts guys went on to basically... A few of them went on to make Telltale.
Look at what Telltale was capable of doing with their former IPs that they had worked with over at LucasArts and stuff. They were capable of making a million great experiences. And by the way, nobody really says that Telltale games are awful all the way through, right? A lot of them are very good, very great experiences. People talked about how good Borderlands was. Everyone has talked about how good The Walking Dead is.
The Wolf Among Us as well.
Yeah,
and,
they've been capable of doing this stuff. Yeah. And you fired them. So I don't know why you thought that was a good idea, but whatever, you closed down that. So Disney, get out of here. They don't even want this. But when it comes to Netflix, they can buy that and make it more, and make it better. And like with that kind of income coming in, because remember, they don't have to worry about sales on Netflix, okay? This is a big deal. Telltale has to worry about people actually purchasing these episodic content packages and stuff like that. But when it comes to Netflix, you don't have to worry.
Right. So you're seeing whatever sort of plan is for this as it just being integrated into the service as it is right now. So,
Absolutely.
So you're paying the same fee for Netflix and you're getting some sort of like gaming section to
Pretty
Netflix
much.
now.
And when you think about folks out there that may not like watching Netflix movies and stuff like that, which, there are still people out there that are in that zone somewhere. But when it comes to this, there's going to be folks out there that just like video game experiences, and this is their way to get into that, right?
What about this? What about this idea, too? You're so used to sitting down and watching things on Netflix. How about a mode within the Telltale games where you don't even have to play?
Absolutely.
You can just watch them.
Just watch them through. Yeah. Why not?
Some people just love Telltale games because of the story. They're very heavily story-driven.
100%. And maybe there's going to be some folks out there that see that and go, well, I don't know, maybe that's not great. But look, Nintendo has Super Mario games that just play themselves now. Wow. So, Netflix games actually not Netflix games, by the way, that's the name they should be calling it, but Telltale Games, one of their biggest problems that some people have is they might not actually like the gameplay that's involved with them, but they really do like the story. And unlike a Super Mario Brothers platforming game, I promise you there's a lot more narrative going on in a Telltale game.
Well, Peach, that's a thing now, so.
Yeah.
And apparently Bowsette.
Yeah.
But anyway, while we're just on the topic of all this, I want to. Can I derail for just a moment?
Go, do it.
So, okay, Telltale, they want to finish The Walking Dead.
Yes.
And it seems like they're looking for other people to come forward and help them out, right? Should people be supporting Telltale in what they are right now? All we know that Telltale is right now is like 25 people, a skeleton crew, finishing up whatever work they have to finish up, and basically the management that ruined the company, right? So should people be happy that they're finishing things up? Does this feel like Telltale is simply maybe asking people to buy a season pass that haven't bought a season pass because there will be a complete full season at the end of all this? What do you think about that?
So I feel that in order for whatever this Walking Dead thing is going to be, if they try to continue with it, they literally need to go out and get the people that were making that back and make that work. I think there's a lot of people that are upset. I can only, like, I've worked on projects that have been cut halfway through, and it sucks because you had so many ideas, so many things you wanted to complete, and not being able to do it through financial issues and stuff like that can be a problem. So I think it's good that they're doing it, but I don't recommend people buy the game unless they're confident that, unless you're confident in just playing those first 2 episodes.
Do you know what I hope? I hope that all of these companies, these backers that are supposedly coming forward to help with the final season, I hope that whatever plan is being sort of planned out right now, that has something to do with these people getting paid. Some sort of like severance payment going to those people, and not just, hey, no, we're going to finish this game. No, the people that started this game are going to be compensated after losing their jobs.
There's apparently an emerging lawsuit, or one that's being discussed right now in the community, about how the folks that lost their jobs and didn't get severance, they might actually be legally inclined to take on the company, because one of the problems is, apparently in California, where they're from, if you fire everybody, you don't give notice or anything, that's actually illegal. You're not supposed to do that. So they have to pay 60 days of severance, and that's one of the things they're looking for. So that might happen, okay? And if a company buys Telltale and actually works with them and all that stuff, they're likely going to have to pay those people, right? So why not just pay them to have a job instead of paying them severance and have them walk away?
Right. So maybe a company that's as huge as Netflix is capable of doing that.
Yeah. You know, look, at hands down, I really feel those other 2 companies we talked about would be a benefit to Netflix, or sorry, to Telltale. But I really feel that Netflix would benefit the most from this. I really feel like they would be the ones that could just make this work. Not only do they have an already pre-established relationship with Netflix, they've already established that they have an idea. Like, we've already talked about how great these things would merge together, but I really feel that this would be the key element for Netflix moving forward, to have finding those new things that people want to get into. Look, video game streaming is going to be a big thing very, very soon.
Everyone's talking about it as the next step in console gaming.
Yep, PlayStation 5, Xbox 2, they're being...
We've even heard rumors of the Switch.
Well, we know the Switch is
yeah, they're trying it in Japan.
They're doing it. Yeah. And so right now would be the best moment for Netflix to get in there and start to basically rule it. Because look, there is no company that is doing it better than anyone else right now. And the companies that attempted it in the past technically aren't around that much anymore. The only company that really is doing streaming in a big way is Sony, and they're falling on their face left and right. And they don't even know how to price it properly. So if Netflix came in and totally disrupted the medium, they might be a huge contender. Because think about this. Just think, folks. Because I've always wanted a unified gameplay experience. I want to be able to play Mario Galaxy on a Switch and on an Xbox. Like, I don't care where I play it. I want to be able to play the game. Netflix is on everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Think about that. You pay for a Netflix subscription, suddenly even your smart TV will be able to run it. Like, this is a crazy idea, but if Netflix makes this work and they do this, it's the first step forward into finally having console gaming available everywhere all at once. And that's a big deal. But folks, what do you think? Do you think that the future is going to be with Netflix, Ubisoft, or Nintendo?
Shane, I thought of that, the name of that game from Ubisoft, that Hearts game. It was Valiant Hearts.
That's correct. Valiant Hearts. Go play Valiant Hearts if you haven't. It's actually really good. Like actually good. Most people don't even I know what you're thinking. Oh, World War I. It's a first-person shooter.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay. What do you think, folks? Do you think that Telltale should be going to Netflix, Nintendo, or Ubisoft, or do you believe that they should just go away and never come back? Let us know what you think in the comments below.